You're listening to the Three Seeds Podcast, a show about native plants in the Midwest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Elizabeth, and we've been walking around parks and gardens together for years.
In each show, we share interesting and fascinating facts about native plants.
Why 3 seeds? Well, we believe it takes 3 seeds to germinate great ideas.
We're 2 of the 3 seeds, and the third may very well be a plant, a person, or a cultivar.
Oh, no.
Just kidding. This is our very first show, so let's do a quick intro of who we are.
Well, I'm Elizabeth, and I grew up in the wilds of New Mexico, the city of Santa Fe. But nature there is immense. The first inkling I had that there was something green about me was when I turned down a high school spring break trip in Mexico to garden all week at home. I'm an artist and designer whose body of work is centered around nature. Currently living in a condo with a small shady yard, I face challenges in bringing a native garden to fruition. And what about you, Steph?
Well, my playground was the woods growing up, so I've come a long way in my ability to socialize. I'm a producer and a communications consultant for nonprofits. I'm also really interested in native plants and have slowly been working to change my yard into a native garden. Okay, so now for our first segment, we like to call it the Big Reveal. We're surprising each other with plants that have unique qualities. Okay, Elizabeth, surprise me.
Well, okay, I'm going to talk about something I love, and those are aspen trees. And I am thrilled to say that they are native to Illinois. I am from New Mexico, where it's such a beautiful element of our landscape. In the mountains, they grow in these really, really large groves, and you sit in them and you can just hear all the leaves quaking. And this is what I'm talking about today, is the quaking aspen.
So quaking is the sound they make?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, that's what they say. And what's interesting about that is actually there's something out there called flower essences.
Okay.
And flower essence is something that is recommended by some people for emotional issues. And so aspen is used for issues around fear and anxiety.
Really?
Yeah, which is sort of poetic, given that these little leaves, each leaf is about, I think they're about 1 to 3 inches. Because they're so small, they catch the wind and they all quake. And for me, it's it's really nostalgic, and for me, it's a beautiful sound. It's very calming to me.
I didn't know that we had native aspen trees.
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I think they're beautiful. You know, the other kind of interesting thing that maybe people know about is that they can grow into being one of the largest living things by mass in a forest.
No way.
Yeah. They share a single root system.
Okay, so when you see a grove of aspens,
they are identical. And they are genetically identical to each other. And they're called a clonal organism because they're genetically identical. And so in Utah, there's one named Pando, Latin for spread. And it's 47,000 aspen trees that come from a single root system.
Holy moly.
But I don't want that to put people off for putting this in their own yards. Anecdotally, I can say that my mom has about 6 aspen trees in her yard, 2 here, 3 there, and she's had an easy time maintaining without them spreading too vigorously. So, they'll send up a shoot, and she just prunes it down, and it's fine.
Okay. Oh, that is fascinating.
Oh, good.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh.
Huh. Do you have any idea where we could check out a quaking aspen?
Yes, in
nearby?
fact, I just saw one. So this sort of came up when I was visiting the Montrose Bird Sanctuary in Chicago. And I wasn't sure if it was actually more of like a poplar. They can kind of look similar.
Yeah.
The defining characteristics, it's got bark that's, white, and there are usually black horizontal rings with scattered black knots along the trunk. And again, the leaves are anywhere from 1.5 to 3 inches. A few funky facts I found out about this tree is that the wood doesn't splinter very easily. So it's been used to make toothpicks, sauna benches.
Sauna benches?
Sauna benches, wooden structures for playgrounds. And also, in case you're interested in how does this interact with nature at large, many vertebrate animals use these aspens as a source of food.
Vertebrate animals, huh?
Those would be your vertebrates. Anywho, we're talking, your ruffed grouse, your greater prairie chicken.
Those greater prairie chickens.
This is our vertebrates. Your purple finch will feed on the buds, or the catkins as they're called. And they're also a source of food, protective cover, nesting habitat. Oh, yay.
Oh, yeah.
I guess
very cool.
Yeah, look it up. I love it.
And I feel like they turn like a very beautiful, dark yellow, like golden color.
Golden.
Yeah?
Yes.
So cool.
Yeah, beautiful.
That was a cool reveal. Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay, are you ready for this reveal?
I'm ready.
Okay. Guess what? It's white snake root.
Oh, you talk, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. You talk a lot about snake root.
I do talk about this plant.
And I love it as well.
But I was hoping that you wouldn't remember that for this to be a reveal. But I talk about it because it's kind of taking over my yard.
Okay.
And last year I was really excited about it because basically at the end of the season, like end of the summer, very end of August, beginning of September, this plant starts to blossom. So when everything else is kind of going away, this guy springs up. Well, it's been growing all summer, but it produces these really beautiful little clusters of flowers, and they're bright white. Last year, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most cool plant. I don't know why it's here, but I'm going to take all the seeds as the flowers are dying and just throw them everywhere. This year, they're literally everywhere.
And that's all it took.
That is all it took. Yeah. And then I did a little research. White snakeroot loves disturbed sites. Yeah. So we've been trying to plant some new stuff, take some old stuff out. Basically, the more you disturb an area, the white snakeroot is like, I'm aggressive. I'm going to get in there. People are kind of up in arms about this plant. It has some things that are not going for it, but I think we should we should open our minds a little bit to white snakeroot.
So what's not going for it?
So the other thing is that it's a toxic plant.
To
animals, to people. I mean, you're not going to go out and eat white snakeroot as a person, but if you're a cow, it's going to look pretty tasty. And so back in the day, it actually was the source of something that they call milk sickness.
Oh no.
And so basically what happened is like cows would go in the field, they would chomp on this white snakeroot, and then people would drink the milk from the cow, and then they get the trembles. And it is rumored that Abraham Lincoln's mother died from milk sickness.
Oh.
So now it sounds scary, right? But it has so many other benefits. So number one, it is like it fills in places that maybe there's nothing else growing. It loves shade. So that's great. And then also it's like a total attractant. Is that a word?
Attractivator?
Attractivator to pollinators. So, like, at this time of year, all these, these bees are, like, trying to get their final sugar fix in before they die. And, there's birds running around, butterflies. They're not running around. Birds are flying. But all
That's so
of
Midwestern of you. These cute little butterflies running around.
So, but they're all, like, feasting on the flowers right now.
Yeah.
So, the other thing I found out is that it does like grow very vigorously, but then once your other plants grow, it kind of calms down because it doesn't really like stability. So it likes drama. And, I've been happy to have it around. I just have to it's weird because if I remove it, did I just disturb it and 5 more are going to pop up next year? The other thing is it spreads 2 ways. By seed, it also has rhizomes. Okay. So it's rhizomatous, that word. It means that the roots spread underground and another one pops up, just like your quaking aspen grove. Yeah. Ageratina altissima. I think also, it's got some legs. So there are some in my yard that are 5 feet tall, which is basically how tall I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Steph, are you ready for our second reveal?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
I have a funny one because this reveal is really hidden to many of us. And so I'm going to talk about plantain, otherwise known as plantageau.
Okay, plantain, plantain, the food you eat.
Nope, nothing to do with that. It's not like that banana-like fruit at all.
Okay. All right. Let's hear.
Yeah, there's 35 species in North America. Really, only several are native. So the one we're going to talk about that's native to Illinois is the black-seeded plantain.
Okay.
Yeah. And I first encountered this while working on a medicinal herb farm in Indiana. I had just been bitten by a bug, and my skin was getting irritated, and the herbalist who owned the property said, hey, pick this leaf from this plant, chew it, and apply it to your skin. And I did, and it worked, and it was so cooling and soothing. Yeah, and I wasn't surprised because this person is so knowledgeable that if she told me to pick something that looks like a weed and stick it in my mouth and chew it, I did it. I think if you are going to do this, and of course we can't really recommend anything because we're not doctors, consult a professional, but if you do end up learning about this plant and are curious, make sure it's clean, no pesticides, no animal waste, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. You know, got to be a little choosy about which plant you put in your mouth.
Yes, please. Yeah. Yes. This plant has a history of use in folk medicine as a spit poultice.
Spit poultice. That's not something that rolls off the tongue easily.
No, not my tongue.
Kidding.
Not my tongue. Oh, yeah, that's a fair warning to listeners. There's going to be a lot of puns, and it won't be coming from me.
I'll try to control myself.
This is a plant that has low-growing rosette of basal leaves that are up to 6 inches long and 4 inches across.
Okay, basal. How do you spell that?
Basal. That means it's growing out of the stem. It's so low to the ground, this plant, because of those leaves, those low leaves, that it can be missed by lawnmowers. And so it's often referred to as a lawn weed. And I bring it up, part of the reason I bring it up is, yes, I have a soft spot for this because of how it helped me with my bug bite. But also it's, we need to think about if we're going to be, often when we're thinking about growing native gardens, some of us are thinking about replacing our lawns with native plants. And
big topic.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe keep an eye out for this. Maybe think about keeping it around if you can identify a native variety.
Or maybe don't mow your lawn too low so it can survive.
Yeah, right. It loves sun. It tends to grow in disturbed areas because there's not a lot of competition from taller plants that would shade it out. It really you'll find it in areas of high disturbance, like roadsides, along walkways. It can handle that level of traffic, but also I think it does it on purpose. It has these seeds that when they get wet become mucilaginous.
Mucilaginous? Like mucky?
Like mucusy.
Oh, like sticky.
Yeah, sticky. Yeah. And so, the benefit of that stickiness is it can cling to the feet and fur of mammals, helping them probably propagate.
Oh, that is very clever.
And the name of this particular variety, Plantago rugali. Plantago would be Latin for sole of the foot, and rugali would be a reference to Ferdinand Rugal, professional field botanist who came to the U.S. in 1840.
That's very cool. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay, what do you have for me? What's your reveal?
Okay. This second reveal is kind of in honor of Halloween, and I decided to look for creepy, scary plants, and I actually saw this plant a couple weekends ago when I was walking around, and I was like, what the heck is that? It is informally called doll's eye.
Hello.
Okay, I put this image on the screen for Elizabeth. If you all go look on your phones or computers, look up this plant. It's called white baneberry. Latin is Actaea pachypoda. Otherwise, you can also just look up doll's eye. This plant has white berries, and each white round berry has one black pupil. And what are these berries attached to? Like a reddish stem. Wow. It is just the creepiest thing. It looks like a bunch of dolls were, I don't know.
I think it's more
hurt,
like you have.
And then they pulled the doll eyes and they stuck it on.
We know who we're talking about. It's one of those really scary kids.
Yeah, honestly, if you were walking around at dusk in a forest preserve and you caught this thing out of the corner of your eye and it's looking back at you with 20 to 25 eyes, I mean, come on, you're going to run.
You know that feeling when you're walking through the forest and you're like, I feel like there's a bunch of eyes on me.
Yeah. Do you want to know the other thing that's scary about this?
Yeah.
It is totally poisonous.
Ugh.
Like from top to bottom, white baneberry, it would be the bane of your existence if you ate it. Okay? The other thing that is scary, it loves shade. So there you go. You're at dusk, you're walking around, you're kind of in the dark, little doll's eyes watching you. Yeah.
I'm really into it. This actually really makes me want to grow it.
Really?
I think it's really cool looking.
It is really cool looking. I think it could even work in like a floral arrangement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, please check it out. Take a look at it online if you get a chance. Okay, so on to our next and final segment called What the Heck Is...
What?
In this part of the show, we demystify botanical terms and processes. Are we having fun yet? Okay, so for this first one, it is, what the heck is a nativar? So I just came across this term in the last year at a nursery, and I was tempted because the plant that was a nativar looked beautiful. Nativar, I was like, nativar? It's native? So it sounds native, right? And in a way, it is, except that it's a clone, right? So what that means is that maybe it was produced through a cutting, like you cut a branch and then you root it and then another one grows, or by tissue culture, or sometimes from seed. The seed part, I don't really understand about how that makes it a nativar. But in any case, are you guys confused? I am. So basically, what the thing that we need to look at is what the outcome is of creating a nativar clone. So basically, nativar clones have less genetic diversity than straight up native plants. And a lot of times, they don't actually offer anything to pollinators or to birds, to other insects. The difference is native plants occur in the wild without human intervention, right? They propagate themselves. They're like, we're going to blow these seeds wherever we want, or we're going to send up those shoots wherever we want. And as they do that, their genetic diversity grows and pollinators help that happen too. But some nativars are actually sterile and have no nectar or pollen.
Wow.
If you think, oh, I'm just going to get a couple nativars, okay, we're not going to be mad at you. But if people start only buying nativars, then that means that the overall biodiversity of where we are is going to go down. And also the food sources that essential insects like bees need is also not going to be available. We need bees to pollinate things that we eat.
Yeah.
So it all comes back to us in the end.
but I think it's essential for motivating humans.
Yeah.
For it to come back to us.
So basically, nativars are not the devil, but they're close to the devil is what we're saying. This is a good reason to maybe embrace what native plants are offering. The other thing about buying a plant because of its color, the most fascinating colors come from nature originally. You just got to look around more. Maybe you just need to branch out and buy a different plant. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, Elizabeth, what you got?
All right. Well, my what the heck is going to be what the heck are. I've got a few different terms I came across in doing some research that, frankly, I just liked and didn't know what they meant. So one of them is umbel-like. Umbel, U-M-B-E-L. That just refers to something that's flat-topped or bell-shaped. I thought maybe it would be more like umbrella, just with the UMB, but that's that. Sometimes this is what is used when they're talking about umbel-like panicles of flowers. That would be flat-topped or bell-shaped flower cluster. A couple other fun ones were glabrous.
Glabrous.
Glabrous. G-L-A-B-R-O-U-S.
Gosh, I don't know what that means.
Smooth.
Huh.
Yeah, so use that in your daily. And then the other one is a little bit more obvious. Globoid.
Globoid.
That's spherical. Another one you can pop into your...
Globoid? Globoid sounds full on.
Globby?
Chicago.
I don't know. Right. Yeah, we'll have to look into that. Okay. Yeah, something fun. So that can be used in talking about different kinds of fruits on plants.
Very cool.
In a descriptor.
Okay, folks.
Friends, amigos.
We've come to the end of our very first episode of our 3 Seeds pod. Hey, guess what? Did you know that podcasts are now called pods?
No, but I like it.
It goes well with the name, right?
Yeah.
So next time, we are going to have a 3rd seed, an interviewee, and we're pretty psyched. So tune in. Bye-bye.
Bye.